Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. So in today's video, we're looking at the Vario Versa Dual Time. Now this watch isn't a new release, it's been out for a while. There's been plenty of reviews about this already. Now this Vario comes in a few different colors. It is a bit confusing though, being a reversal, right? You've basically got two sets of dial options you could get. So if you keep it on this one, right? So this is the main dial, let's call it the A face. Now you only had the white dial version, I believe. But then they released this gunmetal version. Now, while under certain light conditions, and it did, when I took out the box first, it did look black to me. But under this light, I can see that it is that gunmetal grey effectively. And what you also have on this dial, hopefully you can see this on the camera, is you've got this brushed surface on the outer side of the dial, and it is a very deep and dark grey. So I like that brushing. It adds a bit of interest to the dial because these watches are known to be quite plain, right? Then you also got that window in the center of the dial, which is just a matte color. It's just solid, dark gray. And then of course you've got the white printing on there and the white hands. Now, very legible dial. It is quite small. We'll cover the dimensions just shortly, but that does look good. So those are the color variants you have on this side. Now when you flip the watch over on the B face, you've got white, you've also got a red, a green and a navy blue available. Now I believe most of those colors are sold out, and this gunmetal gray is the only one left. It's a much simpler dial. You've just got the Vario logo as you have on the other side, and you've got blued hands against that enamel white background. Yes, both dials are indeed enamel, which gives you really good legibility, and it gives you a very solid color. Now with the grey side, I gotta say, this is like a fidget spinner for me, guys. I'm gonna try and not flip this so much, but as I'm holding this watch, I'm fighting the urge to just keep flipping it. And there's a part of me that wishes I could just spin it endlessly, but it does have a mechanism in there to, stop it moving around when you don't want it to. So yeah, I mean, these are very basic dials, very legible, does fit in with the Art Deco theme. And yeah, it's just plain and simple. There's nothing more to the dial. The main thing about the watch is, of course, the mechanism. So before we get into that much detail, let's cover specs, dimensions, etc. Now specifications are very impressive for a watch of this design, the watch of this size. You've got a sapphire crystal on both sides with AR coating. You've also got two movements. Yes, you have two slimline Swiss rondo movements in there, which each have their own crown. So you can see a crown on the top side and a crown on the bottom side. Now you have a 6-year battery life, and Swiss quartz movements as well as Japanese quartz movements are very reliable, and you don't have to worry about changing the battery for another 6 years. If you choose to do so, there's a very easy tutorial on Vario's website. I believe you just take out these 4 screws and dismantle this this rectangular case, which we'll go into. What I'm going to talk about after is just the build quality and the ingenuity behind this design. Now you've got 50 minutes of water resistance, which is more than expected. The watch comes with a whole range of vegetable tanned leather strap options. Now, this strap is quite short, so Vario do state on their website that this won't be suitable for wrist sizes over 7.5 inches and only below. However, it is a 20mm lug width, so I believe you can put anything which is 20mm on there. You just won't have the deployment clasp that it comes with. Now, with regards to dimensions, diameter is 25.5mm. You've got a thickness of 12mm and a lug to lug of 39mm. As I said, 20mm lug width and overall weight of 70 grams. So yeah, it's the thickness for me, right? While 12mm isn't that thick in all honesty, but that's for a diver, let's just say. But for what I feel a tank watch should be as slim as possible. Now, I know it's not possible to do when you've basically got two movements sitting back to back in a dual time watch. So you can forgive them, but I'm really conscious that how is this going to sit on wrist. Now, price wise, it's around £360 in the UK or $436. Now, for a quartz watch, that is pricey. However, it's not just about the movement in this particular watch, it's about everything else. As I said, bear in mind the specifications I mentioned, but now let's look at the main thing, is the actual dual time, the whole flipping of this mechanism. So as already pointed out, you've got two crowns on either end, which will allow you to set individual times. So it kind of one-ups a GMT in a way, because you can have to the minute two different time zones. Looking at the case, you've got this horizontal brushing along the side, very nicely brushed. You can see the grain as well, and then you've got this polished bevel around the top side, polishing on either end of that case, and the uniform brushing on the other side also. Now what you can see on the case is two small screws on either end, which is basically the hinge for this mechanism, this whole case, to turn around. Now while we do flip it over, let's have a look at the detailing here. This is not been missed, but you've got similar style of finishing even on this central part of the case. You've got linear brushing on either side and vertical brushing across that central band. Looking at the crown, you've got the Vario logo, brushing on the crown. It's a very nice sized crown, and I'll be honest, it is a bit awkward though, because I mean with the gloves I can't show you at all, but you need to have a bit of nail exposed for you to slip it just under that groove there. The fact that they've put the groove in there is a nice touch, but once you get in there, one click and the crown will pop out, and then you just got to basically set the time. Looking at this mechanism here, you can also see that they've inserted these little balls, let's say, right, little ball bearings, and on the actual inside of the frame you've got little notches there, so that effectively helps the case sit in. The whole operation is quite smooth. These ball bearings do actually sit in, so they do move in and out. Like, it feels like the whole mechanism is well built. Everything responds how it should. The watch does not move once it is in position as well, and you do have to apply just a bit of pressure to pop it out and then obviously rotate it. Knowing all this, I think then we can put the price into consideration. For I think the build quality that you get here, combined with the specifications, it is easy to justify such an original style watch, because there is our research and development cost that goes into this, of course the samples and the tooling, and of course the high level of finishing. To be fair to Vario, they did not have to finish it this well, and some of the aspects that you can't see they still have covered, so it's always nice to see that much effort going into a watch, and this is where I do hold Vario to a very high esteem when it comes to micro brands. Even though I don't own any Varios and the styles don't appeal to me of my personal taste, but it's something I can definitely appreciate. So getting the watch on wrist and using this deployment clasp, it is a little tricky, right? I did find it just a bit of hard work. I find it quite fiddly, but the beauty is once you do have it set, then you don't need to mess around with it anymore, and the deployment clasp works pretty fine. Yeah, it's got good build quality as well. You can see the Vario branding cross there. As I said, the leather strap feels like genuine leather. It is a very high quality leather, and what I found with Vario straps, they don't need much breaking in. They do conform to the wrist quite well. Now, my concern was 12 mil thick on a rectangular watch. How does it fit on wrist? I think the first thing which helps it is the 70-gram weight. It's very well balanced. You don't feel much weight off the watch on wrist. But the second thing is it doesn't look too bad. I believe that extra height you get from that mechanism sitting just slightly higher than the case does give it a different look, like a stepped case in a way. And while it could do with being a bit thinner, in all honesty, it really doesn't look bad. It has taken me kind of by surprise. I did think it'd wear quite poor, but it's the opposite. It wears quite well. It's quite a snug fit as well, depending on how you size your strap. And I do like it. It does look good. It has a certain sort of character about it, and the fact that you can twist it around. There's something only you will know, right? And then you could change it around, and obviously, whatever color option you went for. But yeah, it is a good watch. It fits well. I think it's for people that want that extra bit in their watch, that reversible mechanism. I think it's a good thing to have in your collection if you don't have one already. Definitely a talking piece. Definitely something that you can show to someone, and just be impressed with yourself, because it is built well. You can do a mechanism like this, but if it's not built well, it doesn't really come across too well, and it feels awful to use. But as I said, everything is smooth, everything is well made. The watch turns, rotates as it should, and it sits in place as it should. So I'm very impressed with this Vario, and I do really like this gunmetal version. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know if you guys have bought one and how you getting on with it now. It's been a couple of weeks, a couple of months since it's been out. So that's it for me today. Thanks as always, and I'll see you on the next video.